Thank you very much. Yesterday, George mentioned that the development of the Afrikaans language as a science, way of communicating science. And I think this morning Johannes mentioned to me when he studied engineering, he discovered a textbook on scientific Afrikaans terms for engineering. Quite ingenious. Now I've got this one for Johannes and George. Where's George? Oh, back. What is a woefkardusie? A woefkardusie. It's Afrikaans word. If you go to the restaurant and you got food left over, you don't ask for a doggy bag, you ask for a woefkardusie to take home. I work in the field of visual communication, and my interest at this stage is misleading visual communication, and it overlaps in the work that some presenters have spoken about, and in particular the images and text combine to be really convincing, and in particular our herbal sellers and other people that sell all the pills and powders and wonders and the mooties to make us healthy and strong and live longer and all the wonderful promises. And I just want to present a case study where I drill down a little bit in and see how advertisers really misuse scientific information. And I'll provide a brief orientation, I'll discuss the advertisement, and then I'll provide an illustration how they actually mislead consumers. And these guys were pretty smart. Now, the position that I hold that the particular advertiser misleads is based on a ruling by the Advertising Standards Authority of South Africa, and it's available on subscription on their website. I'll just highlight a few limitations. One of the respondents was a supplement store. And of course, when I walked into them, I took photographs. They were happy I could take it. And later on, I thought, okay, I'll set them what I want to use the photographs for. And they very particularly requested me, not to use their photographs in this particular presentation, as they want to remain neutral, more about them later. I went to also two large pharmacy stores that sold similar products. And I didn't get permission to use photographs from this store in this particular presentation. Macro, however, gave me permission to use imagery in the store, but they did not sell a particular testosterone boosting product. I think that's maybe the reason why. So I've used that for illustration purposes only. So other images I use as well. They don't really address the misleading issue about testosterone boosting products, but it's just for illustration purposes. And I use it as fair use and for fair critique in the presentation. Now, close to where I live, this is just for illustration purposes. I found this one along the R21. Of course, from a visual communication perspective, I've got a lot of questions about the model applicable to all the number one, and because it works, the evidence of it. But that's another story. And then I discovered that one as well at the same time. It just makes me realize that the money that has been made from these products, now my limited understanding of food and food sciences is supposed to be a type of a healthy product, and it's now joined to a food that's maybe not that healthy. And one of my students, they would call the bar one on the right-hand side unhealthy food. So there's still a very good way that we have the healthy stuff now with the unhealthy stuff as well, a combination of the two. But really graphic design, magnificent billboards, very nice colors and so on. Anyway, this is now a particular item I think that we all used to. I've noticed in the last 5 years when you go to retail stores, your pharmacy, suddenly the shelf meterage has really increased with vitamins and pills and powders, and it's amazing what you can buy there. I tried to measure the shelf space in one of the massive retail pharmacy stores in Pretoria, and it was about 20% of the retail space is devoted to vitamins and pills and powders and various concoctions that are supposed to help us in life and cope with various items. And this is the typical items that you would find next to weightlifting equipment in the macro store. And we know we can get issues that can help us to gain weight, and at the same time, if you've got maybe too much weight, you can lose weight as well, all at the same size. And the graphic appeal is really stunning, what they use. Very strong graphics, very strong typography, and they really have a strong emotional appeal to us. But anyway, that was just by way of introduction. The advertisement that I'm going to show you later is typical from a range of products that you can buy at these health stores and retail pharmacy stores. And they claim that they're capable of enhancing our hormones. For men, it's our testosterone, that will give me the strength, a little bit of aggression, but too much of it, I've got road rage, and I can't play good rugby and various items. And if I use it a bit too much, I would need lawyers to help me out of trouble again. That's why we land up in jail so much, right? And then, of course, the underlying idea with that is that if we get lots of testosterone, that's the idea that's behind it, we get muscle mass and we become good sports people. And I've seen even people advertise it, that it will not be detected in doping tests and so on. Right, now, one of the range of products, typically they have got an amino acid, which is the main ingredient which they promote. That's the active ingredient, and very convincing text and imagery which they promote, that if you consume these type of products, that you will increase your testosterone level, and implication, you build muscle mass, and you can be a bit of a sportsman, and you will look some of these muscle building people. I guess also motivation for me to look in this particular field, a family member of us, well, from my brother's side, he really started injecting the real stuff, and he lost both his kidneys. I think he's not 40 yet, his life is over. He can't go for dialysis, and we hope he will make it by the end of the year. Smaller than me, but when he was really pumped up, his upper arms were bigger than my upper legs. He was really there. He won all sorts of competitions, but his life is over. And he's sterile, and he was supposed not even to make 2017. So it's what I really feel sorry about is the young men, when they look at these advertisements, it's really appealing to them. Of course, these products don't work for them, and then they'll go to something stronger and better, and it costs lots of money. So this is a typical array of the type of products. I just got this from Google Images. And then I tried, these are the type of advertising appeal that they have. They would enhance, they would increase, and they use scientific terms by clinical research, tested, and so on, to give that safety effect, to allay your fears that it is going to work. And then I went to Google Earth, and I thought I'll count up the amount of different products available, and I stopped about at 200 different products that are on the market for this. So, and these are the only ones with this particular amino acid which they claim is supposed to increase one's testosterone level. And it's normally associated with hypermasculinity. They use men in exercise, and really this is the issues which they promise, the visual image that if you use that, that's what you will develop to. And of course, can you remember the men when we were 12, 13, 14, and you could see all your ribs in the mirror? You started swinging the bricks in your bedroom to build muscle. It never really worked, So this type of product and this type of advertising would really appeal to the post-puberty young men, and you suffer from muscle dysmorphia and you feel inferior, and hopefully this product would work. And they're pretty expensive, from about 500-600 rand to over 1,000 rand for a pack of powder. And I've seen this observed in a pharmacy store. You see the young men coming in there with a trolley, and they've got a couple of these packs in them. I say to myself, wow, by looking at the clothes, they don't have much cash to spend, but this is what they spend their money on. I really feel sorry for them. And if you go into YouTube, you've got young men discussing the advantages of this and how good it works and so on, and they've got the products and they would discuss them. And this is the particular advertisement. It's a Canadian company that advertises the product. And of course, they have the image that they associate with the particular product. And this is only part of their website. And what is on their particular website is their promotion that they dedicated to research, that they're doing research, and it's clinically proven. So I think when the novice person reads this, you think, wow, okay, this is a product, there's science behind it, they've done some testing on it, it must be safe, it must work. Look at the man, you know, that's what I want to be. This is the particular product that you have, and these are the advertising claims that they have on the particular product. And if you read the package insert and on the side and the other scientific claims, I think for the novice it really looks very convincing. This is the pack on the left-hand side, and also a part screenshot when they had it on the website as the science behind the particular product. It's a testosterone booster product. They talk about science behind, and that would increase your hormone levels. Reading it, it really makes it very convincing. And these are the scientific claims which they have, and I would call them the advertising claims. And also in the science behind it, they refer that within 12 days, a 42% increase in your hormone levels. It really sounds, and it's also based on a scientific paper which they cite as well. If you have a look on the previous, on that slide there with the graphs at the bottom left, the topo study that was published in 2009. I'll get back more about that. The gist of the advertising claims that will increase our hormone levels if we use the product, and it's backed by science. So it must be good, it must be working, it sounds very good. They've got a reference to an academic paper, it's a reputable journal. The people that publish it, they seem to be okay if you check them out, nothing wrong with that. Now, what really happened, I communicated with a Canadian advertiser, the company, as a consumer. I said, well, you've got a good product, how does it work? And they sent me some information, and it was a lot of quackery on there. And I later complained with the Advertising Standards Canada, their equivalent of a SASA. And of course, they did not respond to my complaint, I guess, because I was a foreigner. I then lodged a complaint with the SASA about this. They rejected this. The reason is that the advertiser is located overseas, and it was a web presence. So I realized, yeah, there's a gap if you want to mislead consumers, have a presence overseas and advertise in another country with the web and do it. I then traced a supplement store that sold and advertised a particular product by using the Canadian advertiser's work. I communicated with them, and I got some evidence from them. What they said was the evidence, and I lodged a revised complaint with the SASA. Sort of that's where it started. And they supplied me with 4 scientific articles. These were the articles that they supplied. And you'll find that many of the marketers that advertise similar products use the same articles that they refer to. But the only one of real importance is that particular one, and that's the one that most of them would cite as evidence that the product would work. And I was also in contact with some of the authors of these papers to collect evidence from them. I said, are you aware of this? What is this? What is this? And so on. And that is the particular article that appeared. But what is important with this particular article is a specific table, and it's a table 1. And this is where these quacks would refer back to. And in particular, those, 23 participants, it's a very small study, 20 in the placebo group, and that particular age group, and in particular with those values. So the placebo group had the experimental group had 4.5 to 6.4 nanograms per milliliter increase. And that is what they used to say there's a 42% increase. And there's a statistical increase from 4.5 to 6.4, but it's got no clinical relevance. You know, it's the same if I would increase or measure my decrease in weight loss in grams, you know. It could be a significant decrease in grams, but it will have no real difference in my real weight. Now, what is also interesting, that particular increase is still within normal range of men of that particular age. However, it's in the lower range, and some authors seem to suggest it's below the normal range if you're that age. And it will definitely not increase a person's ability to build muscle mass. And what I also found out that the people that participated in that went to a fertility clinic in Italy. So they were patients, although they were healthy, and that's how they were treated. So really, it's got no real value for the advertisers, but of course for a person that cannot interrogate a journal, that really looks fantastic. Right, also what they forgot to report is that there was a decrease after day 12 and so on. They also mislead by ignoring other studies. The 2 Willoughby studies, actually also very small studies. They actually used young men involved in resistance training with a similar product, and they found no increase in both hormone levels. And then quite a systematic, a very good study, systematic review that was published now, also found no evidence that that particular amino acid can produce an increase in hormone levels. And then 2 studies that were not published on that systematic review also reported that that particular amino acid cannot produce an increase in a person's hormone levels. And if you dig a bit further in reputable databases, you'll also find that there also, nothing there. And the information is insufficient to make conclusion about that. There is a question about the safety over a long period, right? And what they used very effectively to mislead in visual communication, this is the particular graph that they use on the page. Of course, it's 3 dimensions, look very nice, colors, perspective slightly in front of you with the good results in the front. And of course, they cite that particular study. This is quite a common misleading visual communication. And then they would focus on the actual increase, the 4.5 to 6.4, but they start at base 4, not at level 0. If I would translate that into a normal graph, this is what the graph would look like. But they selected to drop that part and only produce that. And I know that we can graphically really produce the same results. I can either emphasize or de-emphasize depending how I manipulate my graph, but the graph is the same information. But of course, if I really want to build those big muscles of the hypermasculine man I had just shown, I've got to go to some backstreet place to really get the illegal stuff and inject myself and spend, I guess, 15,000, 20,000 rand a month. And I guess to do a study like that, a person would never get ethical permission to check something like do that out. They're concluding they misuse and misrepresent, and they don't hold substantiation for the advertising claims. And there's insufficient evidence to conclude that such amino acid can increase a person's hormone levels. And I found this very interesting. The supplement store, which I was in contact just before the presentation, walked in and took photographs and said they're happy, and when they heard what it's about, they said, please, no, keep us out of it. Very interesting that after they received the adverse ruling a while ago, they placed this on their website. As a disclaimer, they said, well, look, rather look somewhere else. And they said it's disappointing, there's so much hype about it, and that there's not much solid science about such a product. But directly below these, they were re-advertising this particular product, another product. And if you look at the claims that they make is also based on the Topo study, so I think I will communicate with them. But it was very interesting, just the day before I arrived, I communicated with them, and they had the Pharma Freak product at a special on the website. And when they sent me the email and said, please don't list us, they removed that immediately, but they forgot to remove this particular one. It's still there. Then I just want to conclude, we all know about the duck test, if it looks like a duck and quacks like a duck, it is really a duck. And we all know about the elephant test, it's difficult to describe, but when I see an elephant, it is an elephant. And I just want to propose something. I call it the hand in a cookie jar test. Can you remember when you were small and you were taking the cookie, mommy said no? The more you argued with your mother, I didn't take the cookie, you know, the stronger your argument was, the more your mother knew you did take the cookie. And it looks like my interaction is the more people would argue that they are honest and they're not misleading you, and the more aggressive their responses towards you, you know, the more doubt is behind their honesty behind it. And I call it the hand in a cookie jar test. And I would say the stronger the advertising, the appeal that people have, the more likely that one is misled. One never gets people that's selling bananas and apples to you that tell you it's good food. But you know, the people that sell sugary breakfast cereals to our children, they really tries to convince us there's lots of vitamins in, and there's nutrition, and there's fibers in there, and so on. Thank you very much.